I want to make a video recapping some things I've found on the Mosin M91, or I should say the Finnish M91 rifles, using the Konovalov, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll put it in there, or the Type 1908 sight. Me and a colleague of mine, Teleosaurus, was either on one of the Finnish rifles, I can't remember if it was a 91 or something. We've noticed that the way the sight picture is, and they tell you to use it, we had rifles that when you lined it up like that, it shot low. So what is the prescribed way, or what you should see with the sight picture? Let me go to that illustration here. Alright, here's an illustration, the top one. And what you should be seeing when you look at the sight is this here. That point somewhat even with the top lined up and, at 100 yards with the lowest setting. It should shoot just a tad bit high, okay? Well, some of these guns, when you line these sights up, that isn't what you get, alright? And what happens is you have to have this proud, like up to here or something, to hit at 100 yards or so. If not, then you'd have to ratchet this up like to 3 to get it on at, say, 100 yards. So this has been a bone of contention last time I mentioned it. A lot of arguments and everything else. So what we're going to do, we're going to go out on the bench. We're going to look at my 4 rifles. 2 of them I took out today and shot. And I'll put videos up of that. And there is a difference, okay? And we'll discuss why. So I went out to the 100-yard range today and I brought 3 rifles with me. I bought that M39, which shoots high and to the right, so we have to fool with that. But talking about these sights, I brought the Westinghouse and the 1914, I believe, Tula. I only brought 2 of these. So the Westinghouse is this one here. Okay. And we see the rear sight, see the front sight. Now I measured all of the height of the front sights. Okay. And the 2 rifles that I have are about the same. And the other, there's 2 more I didn't shoot, and the height of them from the barrel on a scale is about 2/64 or 32nd, 2/32. It's a little bit, they're a little bit higher, but they're close. These 2 were close. Okay, so this rifle, you take it at 100 yards, you use that sight picture I just showed you, and it shoots a tad high to 6 o'clock position. I'm hitting the bullseye. I take this rifle, which is the 1914, and same sights. The only thing I can think is either somebody filed the rear sight down or something. It does not, when I look at it, okay, compared to this one, alright, the rear notch on the Westinghouse on this rear sight appears to be way deeper. In other words, you can see it's deeper. So I'm thinking someone filed this, because it is in white, it looks like it was filed. Alright? This rifle, if you line it up even, will hit the bottom of the paper, shoot 6 inches low. So what you must do with this is that front blade's got to stick up a little. And you got to kind of guess where. It's not hugely high, but high enough to where it's sticking out. And then I can hit at 100 yards. My guess is, and you know, everybody that when I said this, that you have to have that front sight proud, everybody went crazy and said no. And all the people that argued with me that I was wrong, I said, take one of these rifles out with those sights, shoot your rifle, make a video shooting your rifle, show me how it hits at 100 yards with that sight picture. And nobody did. Most people don't have a rifle with these sights on it, number one. And number two, these guns are 100 years old. Now, you don't know if somebody screwed with them, like same with the Carcanos. Some of those Carcanos, the 38s with the fixed sights, you could see where people filed them things down, okay, to get to where you even a notch up and you're on somewhat at 100, 150 yards. So people over the years, these guns are all over 100 years old. I don't know. Maybe the person that this gun was issued to, and there are European hunting sights, like a scope will just have a single post, heavy post with two fine lines on it or something, as a standard hunting scope. This, I believe, is reminiscent of like a hunting type of lineup, that maybe the individual who was issued this rifle preferred it. And that's what he did. Okay? And like I said, my friend Teliosers, I can't remember, because this is the first time I've been able just to sit down with nobody at the range, everything was quiet, and take my time and just sight these guns in and figure out where they shoot. And there is a difference. Now I got these other two here, which I may, if the weather holds out, I'm going to go tomorrow. Now these two rifles, the front sight blade is higher up off the barrel. I just measured with a scale off the top of the barrel to the top of the sight. These have a taller sight, both of these. Okay? And this is the one rebarreled in 42 that I just picked up. And the Setstroyetsky. Now when I was out shooting the Setstroyetsky at the 50-yard range, I painted the Setstroyetsky sight white halfway down so it sticks up. And I believe this sight may have been filed down also. It actually looks like it has been. So I don't know if this was a way that certain soldiers like to see it kind of halfway up. And a lot of these Finnish front sight blades, like I was showing you, they're notched. You know, on the blade itself, you see a little notch in there. And if you go to the website, it shows you there's all kinds of weird different little shapes on the back end that they do with these. So I don't know if this is a preference or the soldiers modified these. Yeah, that's why I painted that sight, because it's got to stick up a little bit. Okay, and this thing, I assume that's the way you use them. And when I was shooting this, when I first got it, same deal. I'd line up, you can see where the notch is. And I would line the notch up with the top of the thing that's still proud, and it would shoot. So, there's a difference. Yes, if you go to a manual or something, and just like we seen that sight picture, one of these guns does shoot with that sight picture pretty much right on. But I believe that also has the shortest sight. height of the front sight blade is the shortest on that one. This one is about the same that I had to do that, but the notch is smaller. And these two here have a front sight blade that is a bit 32nd taller on both of these guns. So I'm going to try to go out and see where I can shoot with these two tomorrow, if I get a chance. And my thoughts are that if one rifle is set up and shoots like it should, okay, I'm not saying that that's the incorrect sight picture, but I'm seeing where other guns, when you use that sight picture, it shoots low. So there must have been a way of somebody modifying these or doing something maybe to the preference of the soldier that was different, that, you know, you have to change the sight picture. Okay, which, like I said, the guns are 100 years. Who knows who did what to them? You find the same problems with Carcanos, somebody fooled with the sights. You also find the same problem. Everyone started the argument with the Mosin 91 30s. Now the way their sight is, it's a little pin up in there. And supposedly at 100 meters, that gun was supposed to be sighted in. And people would say, hey, when I'm shooting my gun, it's shooting way high at 100 yards. And everybody argues the sights are set and calibrated 100 yards or 100 meters and it's close enough, it shouldn't be doing that, you're doing something. Okay, what happens if, and how you adjust, how you can fool with the Mosin sight, because somebody was making the little pins, you file the pins. My thought is somebody took those guns, filed the pin down to set a 300 meter zero with the 100-yard sight. Now you go, why would someone do that? The standard thing in the old days, a lot of the guns, the Yugoslav guns from the 20s and 30s, all have a 300 meter sight, battle sight. Okay, that was the standard in between, you know, before World War II. That was the standard. A lot of guns were set like that. Somebody may have thought, you know, we don't want them set like that. We would just file the sight down and have a 300 meter sight at the rear setting, which you're taking untrained. I understand why they would do that, because you're trained people to shoot at a certain point of aim, and that way they don't have to fool with the sights. It's a 300 meter sight. Irregardless, they're supposed to be 100 meter zero. Okay, so that's why you get this conflict, and you know, you can argue as much as you want. I'm just telling you the truth. Lining that thing up the way it should be on this one gun don't work. That's the message, and I'm going to try to figure this out. But my assumption is that this was done for the preference of the user. Okay, because once you know where to hold that proud, it is kind of like a battle sight. That thing sticking up like that, I could see where that's a little bit more advantageous than, you know, getting it in a notch. I could see where some shooters maybe preferred that, and that's the way it is. All right, hit the like button and subscribe.